Apple's recent It's Glow Time event held on September 9th this year marked a significant shift in the company's strategy, showcasing a renewed focus on artificial intelligence and health-focused wearables. This event unveiled a range of new products and updates, including the iPhone 16 lineup, as well as features of iOS 18. Today, we'll delve deeper into the features of the iPhone 16 and iOS 18, examining whether Apple's innovations are truly groundbreaking or is it simply inspired by Android phones. Is Apple still innovating or just imitating Android features? Let's find out. What's up mga ka-thumbs up? Welcome sa Martin Approved. First up, we got the new camera control button nestled below the power button. Apple is touting this camera control button as a game changer, featuring a high-precision force sensor that provides haptic feedback comparable to a DSLR camera shutter. And they refuse to call it a button, rather they want to call it a tactile switch.
That's true.
But the thing is, Sony already did this with the Xperia 1 Mark VI, which came out earlier on June 3rd of this year. Moreover, dedicated camera buttons have already been around even before smartphones surfaced the market. Phone companies like Nokia, HTC, and Sony Ericsson offered phones with dedicated camera button. So this is not the first time that we will see a dedicated camera button on a smartphone, but it's like revisiting an old technology retrofitted on a more advanced piece of technology. And let's face it, most of us are used to taking photos and videos in portrait mode, thanks to the booming industry of social media platforms such as Facebook and TikTok. And this camera control button, the way it's positioned, seems more geared towards landscape format usage, thus giving us a hard time in using this button properly on portrait photography settings. So I personally think that this is just a gimmick innovation rather than a functional one. Alright, let's shift gears now and talk about iOS 18. And by the time of making this video, Apple has already released iOS 18 on most iPhones worldwide. As a matter of fact, I have already updated my iPhone 11 to iOS 18 to test out the new features. And the first feature that is being talked everywhere is the new home screen of iOS 18. With the release of the iOS 18, Apple finally gives users more customization options. Now you can place your apps anywhere on the screen. Looks like Apple finally realized that not everyone wants their apps in a perfect grid. You can also change the size of the icons or even customize the colors into light, dark, automatic, or even tinted modes to which you can adjust the color tint of the app icons to your liking. You can also turn icons into widgets if the app supports it. When I saw this feature coming out of iOS 18, this feature made me excited to update my iPhone to the said software. But let's be real, Android has been offering these features for ages, or since when Android phones came out of the market. It's nice to see that Apple is doing the same, but took a decade and a half to do so. Another new feature in iOS 18 is the ability to customize the control center. It's like Apple is finally giving you a little bit more control over your phone. You can now add or remove settings, and there's a ton of functions to choose from. You can also resize icons, but some just take up space and resizing it doesn't really help the icons at anything. Lastly, it has separate pages for different functions, to which you can add another page of whatever it is that you like. For me personally, it's a step in the right direction, but it's still a bit behind the curve compared to what Android has been offering. Before we continue, I want to give a shout out to Zach, who live there in the States, and Carlos Miguel, both of which always comment, watch, or interact with my social media pages and this YouTube channel. Shout out also to Lloyd, Lee, and Sean, who always support me on my channel. Now, back to this video. Apple is known for its focus on security, but still waited iOS 18 to fully incorporate the secure feature on all apps. And it's the Face ID lock for apps. Prior to iOS 18, banking apps already featured this function, but with the release of iOS 18, you can now require Face ID authentication before opening any app, providing an extra layer of security. This is a must-have feature for anyone who shares their phone or wants to protect sensitive apps such as messaging. But Android has been doing this also for a while now. It's just a shame that a company who puts priority to safety and security for their products fall behind to an operating system notoriously susceptible to security attacks. Let's talk about iMessage. iMessage has been a popular choice for iPhone users, particularly for its seamless iPhone-to-iPhone communication. It's a great experience with features like read receipts, group chats, and fun animations. But the major problem is that you can only enjoy those features if and only if you are chatting with another iPhone user. Here in the Philippines, where Android phones dominate the market, I find myself using iMessage with only a handful of friends. That's where RCS messaging comes in. Rich Communication Services, or RCS, is a standard international protocol designed to improve SMS and MMS messaging, offering features like read receipts, video sharing, and typing indicators. And Android has incorporated this protocol for quite some time now, while Apple's been criticized for not adopting RCS sooner. The green bubble, which shows up for non-iPhone users, has been seen as a bit discriminatory. The company even claimed before that they have no plans to integrate RCS messaging on their iMessage. But they finally added RCS to iOS 18. Actually, Apple was compelled to do so by European Union's Digital Markets Act. The DMA, enacted in 2022, aims to regulate large tech companies, known as gatekeepers, to promote fair competition and prevent anti-competitive practices. Apple was designated as a gatekeeper, and its iMessage service was subject to scrutiny under the DMA's requirements for messaging interoperability. And Apple decided to add RCS messaging as a preemptive act to avoid potential legal actions. Same like what they did on allowing iPhone users in Europe to use third-party apps that does not solely installed from Apple's App Store. Still, implementation of RCS messaging on iPhones remains limited to certain regions. For example, carriers here in the Philippines still don't support RCS messaging on iPhones, while they do support it on Android phones. Now, for the elephant in the room, let's dive into the world of artificial intelligence. Both Apple and Android have been making significant strides in incorporating AI features into their operating systems, and it's becoming increasingly difficult to tell them apart. Apple Intelligence, their AI platform, offers features like background deletion, audio transcription, and image generation, similar to Android AI features. They can even generate customized emojis. Apple claims that their AI data is secure and won't be used to improve the platform, and that Apple Intelligence is integrated into the phone's firmware, unlike third-party AI apps. Is that so? Then why would it take another update for it to be fully incorporated to those handset models that are capable of having Apple Intelligence, if it is baked into the phone's firmware? Well, as I watched the It's Glow Time event, I was fascinated by the AI features Apple is introducing on the launching event. But then, they introduced Visual Intelligence, which is basically Google Lens with a fancy new name. It does what Google Lens do for years now. The difference is that Google, being a powerful search engine, doesn't use AI to work. With all this, Apple seems like copying certain Android features that Android users enjoyed for a long time already. As if they deem those features to truly work and give meaning to Android devices. But even if they're being inspired with Android features, still, they did improve those borrowed features and made them their own. Though some Android fanatics mock Apple for this, we can also see that in the near future, these borrowed yet improved Android features Apple incorporates to their devices may eventually surpass the level of innovation Android companies does with their smartphones. And in all fairness, there are some things Apple released recently that are exceptionally well. One of my favorites is the ability to hide ads or distractions on web pages in Safari browser. This feature is a game changer for browsing. It makes reading articles and exploring websites a much more enjoyable experience without those pesky pop-ups and banner ads getting in the way. The way they do it is also awesome, as the effect seems to be taken out of a Marvel movie. To do this, just click the quick menu at the bottom, click on Hide Distracting Items, and select the portion you want to remove. And I love this feature, and I think it's something Android should definitely borrow from Apple. So what's the verdict? Is Apple still innovating, or it's simply copying features from Android? Let's be honest, it's a bit of both. On my take, maybe Apple is taking inspiration from Android, but they're doing it in their own way. And by that, it implies that Apple can even improve Android's well-known features into either a more functional way or a more user-friendly way. It is approved for me because this launching event means something, and that something is that clearly Apple is taking steps to entertain somehow the requests of their market rather than doing it their way as how the years for them has been. It's an exciting time for smartphone technology as both platforms strive to deliver the best user experience. So what do you think? A thumbs up? Is Apple still an innovator, or are they playing catch up? Let me know in the comments down below. And that's it! If you enjoyed watching this video, please consider subscribing for more videos like this. And if you have questions or suggestions, feel free to comment here down below. Also, consider liking and sharing this video and follow my social media accounts. I also do motovlogging and approving or disapproving stuffs online, so stay tuned until the next video. Thumbs up!